Good morning, everyone. I am Rutal and I'll be moderating today's session. I request the audience to keep their cameras off and to keep your microphones on mute. So, each of us is unique, and so should be our portfolios. And on this note, I would like to begin this portfolio session with our speaker. Hello, sir. It's pleasure having you at Avantika. So before we start
Same
the
here.
session, I would like to give a small introduction about our speaker. So Mr. Sameer Chavan is a passionate industrial designer, UX strategist, and a digital experience leader with 20 years of industry experience. He has been a speaker at many UX conferences in India and abroad. He has UX patents and has also published many articles. Let us welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Sameer Chavan.
Thanks, Rutul. Thanks. All right. Should I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks, Rohit and everyone, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to speak to you all. I think I always like to connect with the students, and I've been doing this with my past other universities. By the way, I come from a design background from IDC IIT Bombay, batch of 99, 97, 97, 99, where there was no kind of a UX or there wasn't any like GUI product or software products. We were working on product design, and then slowly I seen like I moved into the UX side at around 2000. I did work initially in product design, so I did practice product design. So some suggestion for the product designers: do practice product designs in the product industries before moving and jumping into the software UX side. Don't miss that opportunity. I worked in Mahindra Bajaj Auto, Piaggio Scooters Italy. I really did a physical product design, automotive design, and then I moved into software UX. And then I've been working with multiple companies from enterprise or like Intel's and LG's, and then Intuit, Oracle, and InfoEdge, Flipkart, and many more. So I got a fair idea of different industries, from multinationals to Indian companies, from consumer-based products to enterprise-based product, mobile to desktop GUI. And I must have interviewed and recruited so many designers in the last 20 years. So I was talking to Rohit, and he said, like, it will be good to give some ideas to the students about portfolios. And here we are talking about portfolios. Though personally, I try to avoid a lot of portfolios expectations from those candidates. If they are actual work, you can show in a couple of slides or through your presentation in any format. I don't need to create too much of big portfolios. But anyway, what has happened is, at my time, there were very few designers when we started in 99, 2000, like maybe 20, 25, 30, and we almost know each other. But now I think there are like thousands of people in the design field in India, and there are so many design institutes, and it has become imperative to actually have competitive portfolios now to make yourself stand out from the rest of the market. So let's go with a bit of understanding about portfolios. You have already known about this. I think you are more connected than me into the electronic world with digital portfolios on Dribbble, Behance, and many other websites. But I can give you some of my suggestions, advice that we look at when we hire candidates into the company, and what we look for in a portfolio. All right. Okay. I cannot see if anybody is putting any questions.
Anyway, Rohit, so Rutal will keep helping you if there are any questions intermittently. Rutal will keep sharing that with you.
Yeah, she can let me know in between. I don't have a very big presentation on the portfolios. Most of the things you might already know about it, but I have my own way of reviewing portfolios, and that can help you understand how, when you apply for a company, is finally the reason you do a portfolio is actually to get into the the professional world with jobs, right? It's not like artists where you want to just create a portfolio and ask people to come into your art world to look at it. But finally, we want to do it also portfolio as a kind of a product service to sell yourself. So let's look at it. What are the portfolios? And I've used Simpsons, my famous character, here at places wherever I feel. Before we go into that, like I have a question here, and let me ask it. What is a designer? Okay, let me just exit and see. How do I see the full screen questions? Anyone can answer what is a designer? Where can I see the chart?
Sir, it's in the bottom.
Yeah. Nobody is able to answer what is a designer. You're all designers, right? No answer.
Any one of you can unmute. Any one of you can unmute and answer. So I see Swarali, you've answered. You could unmute and answer.
Yeah. Good morning, sir. This is Swarali. And I think a designer would be somebody who identifies problems and tries to solve them to some extent.
Okay, good. Any other answers? You're saying like a designer is a problem solver.
Something else that pops up into my mind when I think of a designer, it's probably somebody who looks at different perspectives and looks in different lenses to actually understand different aspects of a single scenario or a single context.
Okay. Any other perspective?
Hello. Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. A designer is for like somebody who makes life easier with respect to products or interfaces or anything around us, like making existing products better or making products that make everyday tasks better.
Okay. So improving human life and making it easy.
Yes.
All right. It's good to hear this. Anybody else?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
So a designer is someone who can turn problems into solutions by adhering to the standards demanded.
Okay. Standard-based designs, an approach towards solution to address the problem. Okay. All right.
We have a response, sir. In the chat, someone who balances between function and aesthetic to solve a problem.
Okay, great. I was looking for word aesthetic also. So that's good. What happens is a lot of times when you ask somebody on the street, like what is a designer or somebody, they quickly jump into the aesthetical way of defining the design. They look at design more as an art or an artistic way. No doubt that all the designers are artistic in nature, but over and above that, they are problem solvers and they understand users and context, all that. But if you try to look at design as just a piece of kind of an art, then your portfolio might shape into a different way. That's the reason I was asking what is design. So don't consider design as more a form purely as an aesthetic form. It is more than that, but aesthetic is definitely a part of it. All right. Let me go back to it. Done. Present, sorry. Yeah, and I do ask this question because is a designer's profession different than somebody else? So if you look at our professions, there are so many professional jobs available not just design or software ITs, right? There are so many people in the world who are doing their jobs. Do you think they are also doing design in some way? Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to some extent, I think we end up. So designer's role ends up being played because the process still gets executed as part of, like for example, anything like even if um, like a doctor, right? He also has to, when he looks at a if he looks at a particular disease, right? If he sees a patient, his first step is to like look into what is causing it, finding the need, finding the problem, and then going through the entire process of identifying that, conducting tests, and then actually giving a diagnosis, analyzing, and then really giving him the solution. Okay, here are your tablets, or this is the surgery that you have to go through, and then execution. So yeah, I think every field in that sense has its own the process is pretty similar to how we solve a problem as a designer. And I think most designers nowadays, they get into different fields, like a lot of people are getting into policy making and experience and a lot of other things. So yeah.
Okay, great. Swarali, right? Really good articulation of how we apply design in different fields. Like, yeah. So most of the fields apply design, and hence you have seen the design thinking as a process that has been used to educate so many other job functions and trying to teach them about how do you apply design into their profession. So designers are not the only people who do design, but there are other job professions. They apply design as a process to their own job family to improve either their patients or customers, or win a case if it's a lawyer and all that thing. So yeah, it is there everywhere. No, they go to the job, right? And they apply for the jobs with their resumes, and that's all they need it, or maybe their past experiences. Now we always think about why designers need a portfolio then. What is that you are doing different than others? If you look at some similar professions, they need portfolios. So there are, if you are an actor, yeah, definitely you have to do some screening and some short photo shoots, and then show it to the directors and filmmakers, and then try to build a case. Photographers definitely have their own portfolios of the photography they have done, whether it's portraits, landscapes, like a kind of a animal kingdom or wedding photography. So they need portfolios. Architects, they need portfolio too. So there are some professions who need to build some artifacts or something they have to show it more in creative way. They need to create portfolios, and hence we landed up in building portfolios. At my time, maybe it's like 97, 99, we did have portfolios, but it wasn't so much emphasized on the portfolios, but it was more of a discussion with in a job interview. It was more of a discussion about understanding the person and the problems he's solving on the fly in the interviewing room, doing some whiteboarding. But now, because you have so many people in the design field, and then if you post a job, like if you go to any LinkedIn jobs, and you can see the stats there. One of the job, there will be like 200, 300 people applying to it, right? There are so many people applying to the same job from from all over India, and there is only one recruiter and one hiring manager. They don't have time to call everyone and talk to them. So what they do is a first level screening happens at your resumes and at the portfolio level. So now it has become necessary to have a better portfolio that need to showcase your work. And then it will help the recruiters and hiring managers to at least make a first call to you. They should at least give a chance for you to talk to them. If that doesn't happen, then you can't even go and discuss your projects or anything to them. So it becomes more important, portfolios. All right, what is the portfolio? it is definitely about your skills and to showcase your talent. If you have some work you have done, you want to document it and show that as a proof of your capabilities with some endorsement or people saying that. If you have done some achievements like awards, any competitions, you want to mention that. And the way you configure your portfolios, it talks about your identity, personality. You create your own brand. Basically, you're trying to sell yourself, and you want to project yourself like what kind of a person, what kind of a passionate designer you are, what are your skills, where is the focus you are there, and how do you do that? You document all the craft skills, whether it's visuals or interactions, or I've seen product design, which is 3D products, manufacturable products there. Then you have all the research, as somebody said, guidelines, processes. You showcase all these things within your portfolio to show that you have touched all aspects of your design learning into this. Agree? Anything else it is you think should be there in the portfolio? One or two suggestions? Maybe I have missed somewhere here. What should be there in, what else should be there in a portfolio? Normally I've seen portfolio with always craft skills, which is your projects only. People just jump into the projects. Anything you think you should add into portfolios? No? Have I listed all the things here? It's about your skills, talents, work. Then you do it where you document all these things about whatever work you have done, touch upon your learnings of the process principles. Research is a part of it. All right, you can type it later and let me know if what else is there. And we'll talk more about the portfolio again. Okay. All right. Now the challenge for people like students is mostly because you don't have a prior work experience. Everything becomes your school college projects only. Sometimes it's there are not much enough projects to showcase. You probably get 2 or 3 main thesis projects, and there are maybe small multiple projects in that. But then there is a lack of resources. Suppose you want to do something on a wearable glass or augmented reality, the technological devices may not be there, that funding or the technological support may not be there. So you may not have that thing to do because you are chasing the time for your exams, and there is a limited time frame. Within that you have to finish. So you might have to do projects which are not too deep, but more towards adhering to the timeline. And having the portfolio has become a big competitive. Like if you go to Behance and all those sites, Dribbles, and my time there used to be core77.com. They will see n number of portfolios and projects, and you can position yourself and see how you fit within the entire portfolio segmentation there. It has also become a challenge for that. All right. So here are a couple of my suggestions when you approach on building your portfolio. Don't jump into immediately showing some graphical pictures and screenshots of some projects and everything. Talk about you, like in one of the portfolios Rohit shared me, I was trying to search the name of a person, and then I found it, okay, it was on the first page, but it was not on the second page or not in the title. So talk about yourself, your name, where you come from, what are your passions, why are you in this design field, what is your vision or approach, at a very brief 4 or 5 lines that will give an idea for a hiring manager, recruiters to actually look at you, and when he starts reading top down, he wants to know you first, then he wants to go to the project. Now in a projects level, show some diversity of the works you have done, from maybe mobiles, enterprise, to some devices, working within a startup kind of environment projects to a large organization. So they can understand, okay, you can work in multiple dimensions. You understand more complexities, and you are more flexible. So tomorrow, if we move you from one project to another, oh, you have already done this in your past. Maybe you can adjust to the new projects or new kind of technological projects there. But don't do too much in depth. All of them. Show an overview of all the projects, but take one of the projects what you think best is there, which has covered all the phases of the design process. Go deep into that, and then talk about how do you understand the problem statement, what are the hypothesis approach to the solutioning, or how do you try to address the problem through design thinking, what kind of steps you did, and then final outcome to that. Show your passion as a designer, talk about users, show your empathy, objectives and outcomes, what were the objectives, and finally what were the outcome. The empathy word has recently become quite popular. People used to write earlier like understanding users, now say have empathize with users. Any point of view anybody has on what is mean by empathize with users? Any answers to that? Earlier we used to say like, okay, understand the users.
Yeah, it's more like walking into the shoes of the user.
Okay.
Yeah,
the flow of the user in a way.
So actually, in my opinion, I think that empathy is something that's like you can't really be empathetic, because actually going through somebody's life is probably not something that you can do. But what you could do is like observe and understand to some extent. So here when we say empathy, it's probably not something that we actually are in the shoes, but we at least try to be and try to understand somebody else's perspective and look at it from their side as much as we can, to the extent that we can, based on
then it will become the same like understand users, right?
Yeah, but
for example, if you want to empathize traffic policeman, okay,
yeah,
you really want to go and stand in that place in the center of the road and see how he's really working, what kind of problems he's facing, what kind of sun and heat he's feeling. So you need to feel it.
Yeah.
So the empathize is you need to try to be in the shoes, try to feel the experiences.
Yeah, something
be
like
there.
probably shadowing. Sorry, something like probably shadowing.
No, shadowing means you are sitting in the kind of a shelter and just looking at a person. Here you are experiencing it, you are actually doing it. You're not perfecting that job, but like, okay, you want to experience that.
Yeah.
You want to devise a system for maybe the COVID doctors. You want to really go and run with them. Like you said, shadowing maybe bit. But be there at the situation, experience the panic, experience the actual people talking and heat of that.
Yeah.
So that is more of an empathizing. Like earlier we used to say like, okay, understand users means somebody has written down what are the issues and you just copy them and then you assume that, okay, these are the issues.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, great. Okay, let me go back here. So is this okay? Like this is what you guys follow in approach. You talk about yourself, your diversity about your design projects, then take one of the depths and basically try to showcase how passionate or detailed oriented or standard based person you are, and then your personas and outcome.
I had a question. Is that okay if I ask now? Or
yeah, go ahead.
So in when you're using Behance as your portfolio link, in that case, do you talk about yourself in every project? Because it makes sense to talk about your project, but the point is that
we'll come back, Swarali.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I have this at my last slide, the technological constraints in your portfolio.
Okay.
Okay. We'll talk about it. Hold this question and ask me again if I forget it. Okay. Okay. Here we are talking about what should be there in a basically portfolio. Okay, like now, how do you do that? There are n number of ways to do this. Okay, Behance is there and other tools are there. But okay, basically in a portfolio, you want to have about yourself, the projects you have done, one at least deep projects, and then outcomes of the project, and in a simple way to showcase everything. Okay. Now this is what I spoke about earlier was more of a standard template of a portfolio. When it comes to really now interviewing for a company, okay, it would be better if you actually reprioritize the content. That's the reason I said the understanding the audience. Now, if you're applying for maybe a fintech company, which is like payments and recharge and all those things, if you have a same portfolio that you have just created and just showing it to everyone, they may not be interested into understanding some enterprise desktops or maybe some device in healthcare and all those. They are always interested to see if you have done something similar or in a small segment for that. So when you're applying for jobs for a company, you need to understand what kind of company is that, what are their interests, what are they looking for, what is the job description, what is the expectation of a job. Like a job description might be there is a requirement for a general UX designer for maybe fintech or payments projects, or it is for e-commerce, or it can be a healthcare, or it can be a designer required to build design system. Then you want to understand the process, templates, standards, and trends, and everything like that. Or there can be a researcher kind of roles. Now in researcher, they're not interested to see your GUIs or visual designs much, but they want to understand your thought process, how do you approach the users, research them out, and all the other details of research. So you get me, right? So all the companies, when they are looking at, they have something in their mind that they have already decided to the portfolio. And it is specific to every company. It's not like everyone in every company have the same intention to look at your portfolio. So they have their priorities. So you need to understand the audience where you're showcasing your portfolio. Showcasing on a general Behance where there is a big crowd of just your fellow designer, it's okay. They are just appreciating each other or giving some feedback to each other. But here it's a business. You're actually standing in a crowd, competing with your fellow designers, your colleagues, and now you want to showcase that work. Now, how do you stand out? Like if everyone is doing everything and everything is same, what is the difference then? That becomes a question. So you need to understand this thing. And as I said, you need to prioritize the content, like what you show in a portfolio. If you have just bunch of pictures, just randomly sequenced and bunch of projects, there is no hierarchy, like what you want me as a hiring manager to see first. You have not even thought about it. You're just showcasing one portfolio to 100 people, and then it's just a randomized template. Then it may not work very perfectly. So you need to have a sequenced content. You need to understand their focus, and then focus on a narrative. Like you need to explain the sequence and the storytelling within the portfolio. Like how are the projects? What do you want to showcase first? What is the next project? Which project you want to talk about details? You might have all the projects written in detail with you, but you don't want to show all details. But if somebody is talking about hiring for a healthcare app, and if you have a healthcare app done, then talk about that in detail, not show some fintech app to the healthcare company. Like you are losing on your own content. If you have something ready, then showcase things depending upon who is the interviewing the company, who is the interviewing hiring manager or the the recruiters. You touch to all the 5 pillars of design thinking process. You all know that. So you should showcase all those things. If possible, here I am talking about a different thing within the portfolio that not many people do it, but I've seen one person in the links that was shared with me talk about market segmentation, market size, productizing the concept. Means how do you enter the market? What is the go-to-market strategy? Little bit of business. What happens is a lot of times designers are seen more of like executioners and craft people, and you will be working with the product managers, engineers, and there are a bunch of other people in the organization, right? You need to showcase that you're not just kind of a painter who paints somebody's idea. Like they will be talking to you saying that, oh, we have to make this kind of screens and we need this thing. And they would expect from you just to make some screens. But you have to go beyond that. You have to say that you have some business understanding. You understand not only just customers and the basically users and the task flows and efficiency, but you want to understand why the business is running, what is that it will sell and how it will create revenues. So in your projects, if one of the projects you can keep some data about this data about markets, it will be good. Any questions here?
So we have two questions. So first is, can a theoretical research-based project could be included in portfolio? If yes, how exactly can we present it in portfolio with other ideation-based projects?
You can definitely create a theoretical project. So as I said earlier, that not all projects may there in your education curriculum. But you might be interested to do something which is not even in your curriculum, and you want to do this as a theoretical project, like a redesign exercise, something, or you can definitely showcase this, provided you go through all these sections of users pain point. Now here, if you're doing theoretical projects, which is research for a totally new thing, you can need to have a real data. Then research is something that you need to really do the research and showcase. Design, you can just do it without doing any research, maybe applying your design principles, standards and trends, you can redesign. But yeah, research also can be done and showcase there. Okay.
Next is, so do we need to mold our portfolios or make different versions of it for each company where we apply?
Correct. I would suggest that you should do that, and that will help you better position yourself and also present yourself to the company that has a specific goal in hiring. Like it's maybe if you're being hired for Microsoft's maybe browser systems or a chat system, then, and if you have done some project similar like a social project or something, then you need to highlight that. You can't have one portfolio that you just throw it to everyone like randomly. It might just be like 1 in thousands, right? Then you're losing yourself. Now the question is how to do it. We'll talk in the end. We'll see if we can do that way or not. Because if you go to this Behance and Dribbble site, it's just a template-based site, and it just shows bunch of projects. And I had difficulty even to navigate those kind of projects as a hiring manager. Okay. Okay, let's go. How are we on the time? 9:38. Okay, we are still on time. Oh. Okay, if I go back, okay, as I said, yeah, the audience for your portfolios are not your friends and your colleagues. They are actually the recruiters and the hiring managers. So you need to build the portfolio that can sell yourself to these people, not to your friends. Okay, I already spoke, I think, what they are looking for. Okay, one of the thing is a lot of times we just again build a visual portfolio with a lot of screenshots and everything, really nice looking. But you need to understand different companies and different jobs are having different preferences. For example, in Athena Health, I was heading the design team there. It's very complex. The product they have is a insurance claim settlement, which is very complex data-driven products. Thousands of screens, a lot of workflows, accounting and everything, data and analysis and everything. And they mostly have the standard-based design. So they are really looking for your thought process about understanding the numbers, data, workflows, the users' inclinations or their pain points, and how do you do it. So if you just show a visual presentation to them, your portfolio might get rejected in the first slot, even going to the next screen. So it matters who you are showing your portfolio and what they are looking for. You can talk about different platforms, mobiles and desktop. I see a lot of people, everyone has only mobile as the platform and projects. I hardly see enterprise screens or a desktop based projects anywhere. It will be good if you have not done it in your projects anywhere and you're taking mobile as everywhere. At least have one, maybe a research project or your redesign project on an enterprise side. There are a lot of jobs on the enterprise side also that, like for example, in Intuit, we had enterprise system. We in fact had a desktop-based enterprise system on a C++, where those are having those OK cancel buttons when they install from the, so it's not a web-based system. Then if you don't have anything, that will matter. And there are other companies, again, like Athena Health I told about. It's a insurance system and claim settlement. It's a big screen with a lot of tables and data pairs and rows. They're not interested on a small mobile screen of how do you do login and forget password. Okay, they are interested about, do you understand table data relationships, multi-selects, multi-actions, adding, removing rows, manipulating the data. Do you even understand that patterns, or you only understand like a simple social apps? So it matters where you apply, and then it will be good to have a variety in your presentations. There are always consumer product versus enterprise products. Any suggestion here? What is difference between a consumer product and an enterprise product? Or how do you, what is the design difference between a consumer and enterprise? B2B or B2C kind of thing. Mostly B2Bs are the desktop-based web interface with a lot of data, detailed table data pairs. Like these are the systems that you onboard customers. They create data, users, user management, access management, all those things. Okay. Whereas B2C is direct to customer. So where one thing is about in the consumer side, B2C side, it's more of a self-learning. So there is no third person or a training guy to tell you how to install, how to create accounts, how do you do payments. You have to do it on your own. But in enterprise side, definitely you'll always get help systems. There is an account manager. There is access controls, and they will help you out. So from a design point of view, there are different rationales in that. Anyway, and then different kinds of domains, right? There are fintech, telecom, healthcare, social, e-commerce. So there are so many different things. We don't get to do a lot of things in your projects in the college, but you can always do a research project depending upon where you're applying, and try to create a different kind of app with your hypothesis and benchmarking, and then showcase it. When you do a research project for an existing app, you should show a benchmarking about what's happening in the competition, what is good and what is bad in that. Okay, and why you're redesigning it. Right. Okay, so we indirectly spoke about it. We have a summary, one in detail. Do include, if possible, like hand-drawn sketches, some wireframes. Your wireframe should show in improvements over the previous wireframes, and then you can have one or two final design which is visually perfect design, just to showcase your visual skills. But the initial couple of steps showing that really you went through a thought process with sketchings, improvements on that, it will help you out. Hand sketchings are good because it does not constrain you by the tools limitation. We do use all the tools, right? Sketch and Figma and all those things. And sometimes we spend time in how to create that, maybe a button with an arrow on the right side plus an icon on that. And in that field, sometimes we think like, okay, I'll just leave it because it's taking too much time, and you do a wrong design. Even if you wanted a different design, but because of the limitation of the tool, you land up in doing something. Whereas this is not limited when you do hand sketching. When you sketch in hand, you can do whatever you want without the constraint of technology. So it's good to show some hand-drawn sketches. You should talk about interaction flows, task flows, how are the screens connecting, and some of the portfolios I've seen today, I had a hard time to connect all the screen flows. And we'll showcase that. We'll talk about it. Talk about research methods. Okay, I think not much. So a lot of time in a portfolio I've seen, like you jump into directly showcasing a visual design screenshots of the projects immediately to grab an attention. I can understand that, but then becomes difficult to understand what was the real problem statement. What are you trying to solve? What is that you're going to achieve? Who are your users? There needs to be kind of a sequence to that. Then what was your hypothesis? What kind of process you followed? How did you do the ideation, sketching, prototyping, or you can actually create some code? I've seen one your portfolio when somebody has created a circuit board. That's good. And finally, after the projects, you can always talk about what challenges you faced, what did you learn within that, and what kind of insights you generate. So it's a portfolio is a narrative about a story, about yourself, projects, users, and all those things. So you need to build a narration in that. Right. I think I'm almost done. Okay, this is almost like a last screen, Maya. Here we are going to talk about few kind of ethical checks, or you can say suggestions and advice. So quality matters over the quantity. There's no need to show so much of things you have done. I know, like for me, it's become like 20 years. Somebody asked me my portfolio, I may have like 120 projects with me. Question is, what do I show? There's no point showing too much, but show a quality things. But do give a breadth of your understanding by showing some summary of other projects. See, all of your friends are doing the same portfolio, right? How do you stand out? You stand out definitely by your visual style, the way you make it, but also the story narratives you build, the sequence of your projects within that. Yeah, there was a question, right? Who was asking me about Behance. Is everyone using Behance only here? Anybody, any other sites you are using here? Can you type? There is an Adobe site I saw. Portfolio sites. Any other sites you use for portfolio? Okay, somebody are developing their own website. It is good to have a website. And I think there are some portfolio websites also that can, you can get a domain and put it there. And you can, there you have a flexibility to do a sequence. If it is possible to show and hide projects and rearrange the pages up and down, then it will help you to target your portfolio to different projects, different companies. Any other site other than Adobe and anybody use Dribbble, Behance? What else you guys use? Any suggestions? Sorali, you had a question, right? You're there?
Good morning. Yeah, I did have a question at the beginning. I was asking in terms of Behance, how do you choose to put up projects? Yeah, that was like because there you don't really so you just put up the projects, and you had shown that you should every project should have like a little about yourself as well. So that's what I had, I had a question regarding that.
Yeah, I think I've not tried much. I don't know whether I have a Behance and Dribbble account and all those things. That I have seen is very standard based templates where you have project screenshots, and then you just as a hiring manager or a recruiter, people don't know what to click now. You are showing me like 10 snapshots of your projects, and I have no idea about what is that I should look first. I may have like 10-15 minutes just to evaluate a person. There might be like 50 resumes and links I have received in a day for a job. I cannot now go to each project within each person's and try to make a judgment about the skills. So that becomes really a challenge in the Behance. The more you put, it becomes more difficult for the hiring manager to. So one suggestion would be to, when you are applying, you mentioned that you would like to suggest to view these projects. So you give a guidance to the hiring manager. Or don't look at my like art project, like no, but these are 3 top projects that I would suggest you to go. So we as a hiring manager can know now what to look into within Behance. That's one idea. Maybe Behance also you can use, like you have multiple projects there. Go ahead. Anybody?
Sir, so we have few questions. So Parth is
Yeah.
asking, if we are aiming for two different possible fields, then how should we prioritize our projects?
So that's the problem actually. I don't know real solution here. Is the way I have done it in my past. Anybody has any question? Okay. The way I have done in my past is I have. Can you mute? Somebody is in the background. Okay.
Admin, can you please ensure everyone is on mute?
Sure, sir. Sure.
Okay. All right. So the way I have done in the past is like at my time, definitely it wasn't there, this Behance and all those things. And I consider more of this Behance as a community marketing than really this thing. I have used very traditional PDFs and slides. So I have a bunch of my project presentations. But when I apply to a company, I remove some of the slides and add some of the slides, and I created a separate presentation for that. So I may have my portfolio being sent for maybe a job of now I'm always a design head, but my previously in my maybe 5 years back or 8 years back, if I'm applying to more of a research oriented job, I will hide the visual designs, or I will put those slides at the back. So I will emphasize more on the initial slides about my research capabilities, my experiences, and what learnings. If I'm applying to kind of a mobile-based e-commerce companies or a payment company, I will put some of those as a projects on the top and move the other things in the back. So in that slides-based things or Google Slides or your desktop slides, you can create different versions of it. It does have a limitations. You can't scroll vertically. It is just a like one slide at a time. So you need to break projects into this thing. And you might want to give a link to a detailed prototype, but not too much of links. Like I put one statement here saying that avoid too much of external links. Like everything is a bunch of links going to other side, I will get totally annoyed as a hiring manager. But maybe you have a bunch of slides, you talk about yourself, you talk about your skills, and then you have reconfigured your presentation to suit my job posting. Like I must have posted maybe a job for a design systems lead. There your first initial slides are talking about your design process, your understanding of visual design, your design principles, trends in material design, and versus the other things, whatever is happening. So when I'm going through a presentation or a portfolio, I have a sequence which is interesting for me in initial couple of slides, rather than something which is not interesting. The moment I start seeing a lot of non-interesting stuff, I may not be interested to read the entire portfolio then. So you need to figure it out. I've seen some of my friends who have their websites, they are able to hide and show some pages. So when they send their link, and they might have to create multiple instances of those pages, because if you send a link to a company, that link may be active for a month, and at the same time you're applying to another company. Suppose one is in a very visual oriented e-commerce or a fintech mobile app, and another is enterprise thing. You want to create two different instances of those and then send it there. So it will actually stand out. So something you have to work it out. But this is what I've seen. But definitely that Behance and this thing becomes confusing to understand where to click first. You need to either in your application mention what projects to be seen first, at least. Anybody has any other ideas? You have tried anything?
Sir, we have one more question. So Mihir is asking, being designers, we also learned about user empathy and design thinking, but our main focus is always the functionality and easier accessibility in our applications. Do we also focus on these design concepts in our engineering portfolios?
You are saying that You want to showcase user empathy in the engineering project. Is that the way? Being engineer, let me you also learn about user empathy.
Hello, sir. It's me here.
Yeah.
So the question is basically that since we are engineers here at Avantika University, we also learn about empathy and design thinking. But since we are engineers, so our main focus is always towards the functionality and how to make it accessible to our users more functionally. So do we also try to incorporate all these design concepts in our engineering portfolios, or should we focus more on all the functional aspects itself?
It is nothing bad to have this. This is not going to create a harm to your portfolio. But if you have time, it is good to showcase. Within engineering, you write a lot of use cases, mind maps, and everything. It is anyway there. So this is another subset of user empathy is empathy map being derived. It has been there in software SDLC lifecycle documentation about that. So it is there. You might not be using it, but you can add it. It will be good to give a sense that you care for users and you actually design for users. I mean, build and develop for users.
Right.
Good. Yeah, accessibility. All right. So a couple of things within your portfolio, like I try to mention here from a business side is the copyrights and NDAs. So you might have done some projects with some agencies or some government bodies. Always look out for their NDAs if they are allowed or not. There has been cases in my organizations where we have taken strict action against employees who have showcased their internal work on Behance, which was not even published outside. Okay, so it can turn out to be your liability for your job or your like a student. If you're breaking this thing, there are consequences. So understand that, and if you're putting some data pictures were from somebody else or you've been already used. I have these instances where people have written back to some of my designers that whatever that was shown was the property of them, their property. So we have to remove them. So look at for this. Give credits. Sometimes you are having, it has happened to me multiple times when we recruit from colleges that we get portfolios from like many people from the same institute, and I see the same projects in the same person, same project in multiple students' portfolios. Now the question becomes, who is the real owner of this? So it's better to then give credits to your team also. So we know that it was a team effort, and then mention your responsibility within that team. What did you contribute that? Sometimes in a team projects, not everything is done by one person. You are responsible for one part of it. So it might happen that 4 of your friends applying to the same company showing the same projects might have problem. Okay, and yeah, be honest. Don't steal somebody's work. Don't get it done from somebody. You might have a problem when you actually end up in a job and asked to do the same thing later. And it has happened. I've seen people trying to get help from somebody else. The portfolio is actually created by somebody else and not them. And when you get them into the system and ask them to really use and do visual design or understand talk about business and everything, they don't know anything. So avoid that. So this is almost like end of my presentations about suggestions, our portfolios and portfolio views. Any questions you have here? Any questions?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, good morning. I'm Tanvi Joshi. So one question I had was that I wanted to understand, so since we are students and we're constantly growing, our projects are improving. So what is more important? Is it more important to show the best of best projects in your portfolio, or is it more important to show how you've progressed and how you have the learning capability to keep improving and keep learning, absorbing new things and, you know, reflecting that in your portfolio? So what is more important in the portfolio was my question.
As I said earlier, it all matters where you're applying. And you need to understand that company and the audience there. You can always show your learning skills and which are horizontal, it's good to add your soft skills, your projects which are done for NGOs or some other things. It gives more information of the candidates. It's his or her cultural background, their acceptance within the community, their collaboration attitude. The portfolio talks also about other soft skills, and we can read through that. So it's good to have, but you need to prioritize like how you want to sequence within your portfolio. Okay, whether you want to talk first or the last, and what is the hiring manager looking, what is the JD basically, what is the job description, like what is the expected job, and you need to show that you have some of those skills at least within your portfolio to make you successful in that job. If you join that company for that job, based on the portfolio, you can do that. So, yeah, that's how it is. Tanvi, I think you have one of your portfolio here for us to
Yes.
talk about.
Okay, thank you.
Right. What is you guys' sense? Like everyone is doing portfolio, right? From like I am trying to learn from you guys. Like how are you looking at yourself to differentiate from your colleagues? What do you do? Suppose you all apply to the same company. How are you going to differentiate yourself? Or any other questions on portfolios? The format.
I'm Vibhuti. I had one question. So, if you've done something for a brand or a company in your internship or otherwise, and the client's requirements were something else, so the work does not suit your style, but I mean, it's not something which is great to look at, but it served a purpose. So, if it's still not my style, should I include something I've done, for in the industry to be there?
Yeah, you should include that. It's a very good question, Vibhuti, and it will happen to you in your actual career. You might join in some companies that are having legacy products. Legacy, like I'll give an example at Intuit. So in Intuit, one of our projects we work on was QuickBook Desktop. The QuickBook Desktop is a 30-year-old product, which is on a gray screen on a Windows with OK cancel buttons. Now putting that as a work in the screenshot becomes like a shame. Like, people might think like, oh, you are like an antique person working on this old data technology. But it doesn't matter, because that is not for the visual design or judging a person on visual. It's about understanding the business, the users, the logic, the user flows. So you can talk about different things in that project rather than like a visual identity. There is always something good in that, and you focus on that instead of the things which are not so great. Like you said, branding, right? Maybe it doesn't look like great. So if you look at like Reliance logo, like R capital E small, maybe it might look different, but it might have some other parameters that are interesting. But good question. Yeah, it does happen. You work with some agencies and something, and they have some constraints which makes you to design something which you don't like yourself, like, but the company's requirement is like that.
Yes, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
All right.
Hi.
Yeah.
I'm Hetvi, and I would like to ask one question. So basically, right now we have like lot of group projects as well. So we work in lot of teams. So
I lost you.
Individual projects even more important compared to projects.
Your voice is breaking, Hetvi. I think you also have a present.
We can't hear you clearly. Can you please put your question on the chat?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Hetvi's portfolio is also here, I think, with us.
Yes, it is.
Hetvi's Sahil and Tanvi. Yeah. If you have, as I think what she was talking about, the group projects.
We could start, in fact, with their portfolio review. The questions will keep coming in, and then we could.
Coming, okay. Yeah. All right. fine. Before I go into these three portfolios, I just want to tell the three of them that this is not really any judgment or any critical reviews. Look at this more of a suggestions, okay? And rest of all the students, okay, we are not doing a kind of a lot of critical things on these three candidates profiles. We are just taking this as an example. I'm not going to go details into any of this project, but I'm just going to talk about very general my thought on the presentations and the process only, okay, and not on the output and outcome of and the quality of the work and everything. We'll just look at the presentation and the messaging of that. All right. And thanks Hitvi, Sahil, and Tanvi for making a bold decision to have your portfolio publicly reviewed here with all your colleagues. A lot of times designers are shy, they don't want them to be reviewed, and sometimes designers are afraid to take feedback, correct? Designers fall in love with their own design, and any comment on their design they feel hurt. I guess you should not do that, or else you won't change and improve. All right, so let's look at Hetvi. Yeah. Very, I think you used, what you used, this is myportfolio.com site, something, okay. So it's good to start with your introduction to yourself and personality. Probably you can add a couple of more lines about who you are and yes, like a user experience for building. Yeah, I mean, you have covered like what are your brand statement, I would say. Building connected product service, interactive people for a positive social impact is good. You can talk a little bit about your background or what you love and maybe where do you come from also. Maybe something if it can add to that. And we have a basic this information in there. What I did was I looked at your screen and I just I missed this thing statement because you had a big picture here below, and my focus went here immediately. I scrolled down and then I saw, okay, there is about, let me go on about, and I went to the about screen. Oh, you have added it. I was not able to see your name here on the top yesterday. And somehow yesterday I couldn't find your name in this screen. Yeah,
that's because Mr. Chavan, you know, the students would also be changing the updating their portfolio simultaneously.
Okay, fine.
They don't want someone as senior as you to see lousy work. So I'm sure that all three of them have been working hard on the portfolio as well.
No, all the three projects are great, and I would really appreciate that boldness to be reviewed in front of everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's great. So yesterday, I don't know whether you updated or not, or I must have missed it. Your name was not, you are in about page, and in about I couldn't see your name, and I was searching your name, who is it? Then I went back to your work, and there I saw like, okay, I read it here actually, not on the top screen somewhere it was. Anyway. So you talk about your name, and then now what happens in this kind of visual-oriented portfolios? If you are applying for more of a job which is visual-oriented, and sometimes the job the companies do mention that they focus into strong visual design screen because they have a full-stack designer role. So like in our company, Flipkart also has a full-stack designer role where an interaction designer and a visual designer is one person. It's not two separate. A few years back, there were two different roles. There used to be interaction designer and a visual designer. Interaction designer will do a black and white wireframe screens, and the visual designer finally will convert that into visual color screen. But it seems to be duplication of work and job aspiration becomes a problem, so it has been merged. But there are many other companies who are still having interaction design as a pure role and visual designers are separate, mostly in enterprise world. Okay. So I would expect now a brief description of the projects here before I go in and make a choice. you have mentioned here like B2B platform aims of creating database of availability and blood requirement. And then you have art. This is maybe the limitations of the site itself as portfolio. Like it creates a huge pictures and it fills the entire screen. So I couldn't get a bird's eye view of where I should start first. Whatever you show first, I'm definitely going to click here. So I went inside here directly. And then again, it starts with the imagery. So you have already set my expectation. This is what the output is. So I may have got quite excited looking at visual design, or I may have lost the interest to read it. So I would suggest to put the visual designs and flows at the end, and not to get showcase that visual screens upfront immediately. Let the hiring manager read what the project is. This is nice. You're talking about project scope type. You're not mentioned, as you said, right? She's whether it's a collaborative team projects or individual project. What was your role? You said you did all of this. I don't know whether you did. We have been working with multiple group. Does have multiple group projects with skill? This group project will affect your individual skills. Oh, multiple group projects affect your individual skills. Okay. So the question is like, if you have multiple people working in the project, will it average out that project like average skill for everyone? Interesting. And then because of these screens, I do have a 250 Mbps broadband speed, very high speed internet, but still it used to hang. But you have good, you talked about overview, problem, and immediately the outcome, or whether you want to rename is part of the system was included in the form of mobile. You told the story and the climax immediately here itself. Maybe you want to talk in between the process and the outcome at the later stage, finally. Then you have these screenshots in between. Maybe you're trying to break the monotonous textual thing and want to introduce this pictures, but you could put other kind of imageries instead of the final projects, because you are shown at the, here you have the wireframe, but you already disclosed your final projects in between everywhere. So maybe you can sequence it in a different way. It's good you're talking about research method, expert opinion, key takeaways. It is a complex product, I can understand. One thing I couldn't understand, the users, who is it designed for? And I was scrolling up and down, final screens are here, but your final screens and your wireframes are basically the same. You just change the color of it. It will be good to show wireframe in a sketchy form, so it doesn't look like for sake of building a portfolio, you have just created 2 sets of color screens. Okay, don't take anything personal. I'm just giving my, as an interviewing manager feedback.
Mr. Chavan, I would request you to be absolutely candid. Brutal could also be a word. Please go ahead. We've already primed these. We've primed these students. We've informed them. And I think any feedback, any of your comments would help them, in fact, in their career.
All right. Thanks, Rohit. Okay, so yeah, I mean, this will definitely help you out, because we do understand and try to see that if the portfolio was really done passionately to showcase all the screens, or was it just built for the sake of building by applying a template from some other places and just then filling some spaces with some content. Okay, so watch out for that. Sometimes too much of details is also not required. I mean, imagine like, okay, your portfolio has been sent to a hiring manager. He has maybe 10-15 minutes just to look at your overall portfolio and take a call, whether he want to call you for interview or not. The process of interviewing is later. You can come, and we do ask candidates when they come for interview to talk about their portfolio, and you'll get 1 hour to talk about it. But here is the decision that I, as a hiring manager, or not even me, maybe you have a recruiter in your organization who are not from a design background, and they are going to judge you first. So now imagine a recruiter coming from general HR background. They do have some sense about design because they're looking at all portfolios from everyone. But you're trying to sell them, they're the first level of barrier for you to get into the company. They're going to screen your application before it comes to me. And they are going to shortlist a couple of candidates, then they're going to send me. Now, if you put all these things, you have to look at it whether this recruiter is really going to read all this data. And what is he or her, she going to make meaning out of it. So maybe you can have a less content and then have a expand collapse thing. So somebody is interested to read it, do it that way. And then have more of a infographic flows that will help to understand and grasp the project, what it is. Here, I think, I couldn't understand. It was who is the user, who is going to use this system? Is the patient, is the hospital people, is it doctor, or the lab assistant, and who are the users for that? Okay, learning. Okay, this is the team you have said. You have Vibhuti, Avanti. Yeah, but then if you have a team project, you need to mention what you design, or else we'll be confused about what is really your contribution within this team project. Whether sometimes what happens within a team project, one of the designer does research, another does a UI prototyping, another does a visual design, or they take some part of it, somebody sets up a standard and pattern and the rest copy it. So something which is the goals for the team would be better than, because it's a student. And when you anyway land up into the organization, you will be doing individual, you might be a part of team projects also, but you will have a focused work for yourself. It is not like a democratic way, like everyone designs everything. But really clean, neat site. Only, what was happening is one thing I was noticing. These screens, when they are zoomed out, I couldn't read the text. So I am 45 plus. Okay, I have a reading glass, and if you apply to US companies, they have a lot of senior people. And if I click on this, it hangs on, it goes, it becomes so massive. I cannot make a mental model about where I am in the screen. And when I zoom out, it becomes unreadable. When I click, it becomes too massive. So both of ways, it's not helping me to really understand, read the content and data within it. If find out, I think you exported this screen at a very high resolution, maybe like 4000K. 4K means 4000 aspect ratio pixels. Maybe reduce it so that even if you zoomed it, I can at least see it. Now another thing is, it's hanged again. It hangs. This is again not your problem. It's the problem of the tool you are using to showcase your work. It's a portfolio.com site, I think, which is freezing in between. Then it would be good to link. I think this problem exists in all the three candidates, is to show the linking of the screens. Like, how do I read them? Like, definitely I go left to right, but okay, I clicked in here, it's okay. But after that, here, when I come here, what did I tap, or whether this button was active? How did I came to this screen? The flow is missing. The storyline narrative is missing for me as a hiring manager to read. You are laid down just bunch of screens and ask me to go and figure it out. How do I read it myself? So maybe if you put some linking, that will be great. Okay, well, let's go out. You have an art project, was wonderful. I showed this to my daughter. I have a daughter, she is a 9th grader and she has taken art as her elective subject. And I was telling her, like, this is a bold decision a candidate has taken here. And I was showing her the pictures you had taken for painting the last screen. It's wonderful. So this kind of project do give you a different sense about the candidate, about how they care for the community. So it's good. This talks about more of a business. They talk about more of a communities and art skills. Then you have my Avanti app here. Here also, I think, yeah, you have the same template. Outcomes are there. Okay, I couldn't understand what are the features you are trying to build within that. There was a goals, there is a problem statement, there is outcome according to with the technologies. the lack of particular this thing, created data solution. What are the features you're trying to build? I couldn't get that. With the upcoming technology fields, reduce tremendous smooth functions, problem, make it difficult to gather information, data solution, varies their overview, and activities, features that help them track their progress and complete their tasks and activities in the simplest way. This become very broad statement, like what kind of progress is it their credits, their ranking marks, or it's a payment, finance, or admission process? What kind of tasks are there, simplest way? But then you have yeah, the same, you change the color screens into black and white and call them as the wireframe. It should not be done like this, because I can make out it's the same stencil you have used. Here it's the same thing. Now here again the screen flow links, lines going from what did I tap here? How did this screen came? Okay, it came from tapping the bottom bar notification. I can see here. But from here also I had some problem. So it will, in a nutshell, basically try to give the flows. Okay, before I move to another candidate, Hetvi, this is,
yeah.
You have any suggestions, feedback, or something that you want to ask or talk about?
No, I think I completely agree to the feedback which you were discussing. There are few things I'm working on, like it's like a work in progress right now. So I am still developing the entire thing, but it was really great to, you know, like.
Okay.
I do have few questions. So I agree to the point that there are a lot of, you know, like the template.
Sorry to interrupt. Maybe Mr. Chavan, what we could do is some of these questions, you know, we could also club it and share it with you, you know, after the session, because in the interest of time and two more portfolios to be done, Hetvi, so please ensure that these questions are written and passed on to a PlaceCom member.
All right, fine. Yeah, I missed the time. Are you, you have classes today, Saturday?
No, but they have another workshop. We can extend it by some time. That's not a problem. They have another a similar kind of workshop. Someone from Forbes Marshall would be talking about industrial designing. That perspective.
That's fine. All right, fine. I got it. No problem.
Yeah, but we have time. We can extend. That's not a problem.
I think we can cover like another 12-15 minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes may be extended. All right. Sahil is here on the call. Sahil, are you here? If not, then I'll talk about Tanvi first then.
Is Sahil on the call, admin? No, I don't think so. We could move to the, we could move to Tanvi's.
Tanvi is here, right? I heard her speaking.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, we'll go to Sahil later. I mean, great, Tanvi. I think you have put up a lot of depth of projects here. Only as I suggested, and you also asked me the sequence where I should click first becomes a challenge. You have a resume, that's great. So before I went to any other things, as a hiring manager, I want to go and see your profile. I want to see who is the person I'm looking at first, right? So it is good to have some kind of a profile in every portfolio, maybe a few lines as a brand statement, or some past things if you have. Sometimes in a design school, people actually have worked in the previous career and then they have joined the design school. It is good to give some background about it. And then I can realize you have won some certificates and achievements also here. That's a good thing. So I went to the resumes to just get an understanding who is this person I'm looking at. And then I moved to immediately the first thing left, or I could go to here, XZ. I went through both of this. The elderly project, let's look at it. The problem with this Behance is, yeah, I mean, it's all there. I don't know whether it allows you to show hide things depending upon a link you can create and send to some of the companies. Like if you're applying for some companies, if you can create a custom link and hide 2 projects, maybe which is not much relevant for them, and just keep like 2, 3 which are more relevant for them, that will be better. Yeah, bridging the gap, elderly, the problem, the concept. Okay, now what happened is other people are facing a self-teaching game. I did read this thing, elderly, and then I jumped into self-teaching card game to learn the use of mobile phones step by step. Was this also an industrial design project? Kind of, because you've done hardware design.
No, sir. So actually, the course was new media design. So we had to sort of inculcate technology with design and build a project. And yeah, we had actually the sirs. There was engineering faculty who guided us through the coding and everything.
Yeah, it's a small one. I would suggest to add more data about how is this going to help. What were the goals? What was the? How do you measure if it was successful? That will create more of a full storyline for that. You have talked about users as in a sentence, but their characteristics, their behaviors, why would they even play this game? Like, I don't know whether they will even play this game, or are they tech savvy or they are not tech savvy. Some data about this thing would be interesting to see before you jump into this solutioning. You are immediately showing on the first screen the solution what you created, but earlier data would be good. Then this is okay what you have here, and then you have engineering components here and the final output. Yeah, it's this is more like an industrial design project, but you can add more of a there is no research testing or anything that you found out, like how did you arrive on this thing is the best way, or did you change anything, did you improve on this thing, what was working, what was not working, something to that more will be better. Okay, this thing. What did I say, like redesign education, or seeing this. Yeah, this was another app. I think there is an XE app called as a for the forex trading. Okay, this is education for the children. Okay, about the app design process. This is good. You talked about the what process methodology you are using. Desk research. This is nice. One thing which I actually want to talk in the science project there is he's been talking about a lot of data, and you're also talking about data, but you need to mention the source of the data. It will be better to give source credit from where did you read this data? How did you arrive at this thing? This always comes as a question. To keep in mind, if you have a source, write in a slightly smaller font, gray somewhere, the source from where. You did some user interviews, 36 participants, then the concept was there. Business canvas model looks like some students are already using this. There are different templates like this. Continue using it. Then you have jumped into the building of app directly with the style guides, font, typography, and then the login screen. Then you have created a bot kind of a design as a solution, and then a feedback on the content. So here again, it will be good to link the screens. What happens is it looks like just a bunch of screens there. Which tab is up, active, how you arrived at this screen where. So you can have, you don't need to show a full-fledged app and all functions, but 1 or 2 key flows within the app and their connection to that will be better. There are some apps like I think Whimsical and all those things, online tools that can show the links between the screens and you can embed those things. Parent screen. So yeah. So some things again, I think the user research data is there. The profile user persona is missing here. Their characteristics, behavior, all the students and the children's what they fear, what they like, and what they do. Is kind of personas and user profiles can be created, added here. Business model. Let me see another thing. Yeah, packers and movers, right? You had this another thing. Buddy. Here you're talking about the way you are actually documenting the thing. It's okay. It has given me a good idea about how do I read this document now. These are very generic states. It will be good to write something specific to your project, what it is, what you have done it. And user personas, okay, here you have done a personas, but in that thing it was missing. It will be good to have some infographic kind of a small chartings that what they hate, what they like, what are their pain points, some affinities to them. So see, reading a lot of text in a profile becomes difficult for hiring manager and recruiters. The more the visual infographics is there, it helps to read faster. You have information architecture, that's good. And then I think you've done a card sorting. Then you should sequence it right. You did a card sorting and then got an information architecture, or you already created an information architecture and then did a card sorting. That message is not clear. This is good that you are showing paper prototypes. It shows that you are able to sketch and think out of the box without constraints of technology. You have a wireframes and then style sheets, buddy, and tested before heuristics, A/B testings. Logo splash screen. Here also again the sequence is connecting lines at some places would be, here it is evident, it's okay I think, but in some other detail screens it will be good to have that. Now what happens is, okay, if I zoom in and zoom out, I can't read that. I think this Behance creates a big strip of pictures, right? Vertical, it's a one image entirely. See if you can break that images. Note of reading and typography and research. This is good. Process, users and personas, information architecture, card sorting. Yeah, wireframe. Typeface, bold, brand, heuristic. Heuristics, what you have written here. The Jacob-Stein heuristic, and how did you fare on those heuristics? And then you have the screen, select the service screens. It should be user flows and user tasks. It will be good to connect them. Okay. Yeah, and you had a Paytm also here. So overall, I think the same thing where you want to sequence it. You want to make some flows which are good visible rather than showing all the screens and flows in visual design, and you can limit that. I'd also seen your Paytm thing. Some of these things which is missing in these projects and others is competitor benchmarking. Like, how do you say that this is better than that, or whether there is no competition to do this thing? That statement needs to be made. Okay, good work, Tanu. Okay. I'll shift to Sahil's project just briefly. He's not here, but
he is on the call now.
He's on the call now, Sahil? All right.
Sahil, can you come in?
Hi, sir. Sorry, actually, there was a power cut at my place, so I just joined, signed in through my brother's phone.
No problem. No problem, Sahil. Yeah, I just trying to open up a portfolio and see some of the projects. And I was talking about the downside. A lot of times you met the projects, and it becomes difficult to view that which project to click first. And as I see I think Behance, you have to create a big single image vertical. it's saying my internet connection is unstable or what? And it becomes a if you can break it, it will help me to load this pages also faster. So your skills should not be constrained by the internet speed. So make sure that they don't limit your this thing. Okay.
Right, sir.
Okay, so you have the project. Talking about the projects, it becomes too huge. The Behance thing, is it using jQuery? Okay, it is scaling the picture as I change the width. That's okay. You have problem users goals. Again, for everyone, create a user segmentation and user story here. What kind of users, user profiles, and what they are looking for. It is good that you're the only one who has mentioned the market size and market validation, but you need to mention the source. From where did you get this data?
Right, sir. Right, sir.
So it will be good to put a small line in the bottom, like source colon, like Gartner or Ben or Nielsen in India. There are a lot of market insights companies. From wherever you pick this data, you need to showcase that thing. And then it's good that you're trying to make a business justification of this kind of a product and productizing of this, right? You have business canvas. I think it's a standard for your institute, different representation. You will see this in jobs to be done framework also. There is another empathy maps framework. There also you'll see it. You can talk about there. What happens is you have reached, you talked about this problem, you created a solution directly here. Of a design brief, there is the design brief. The sequence is the only thing that has been overlapping. Then you jumped into directly the iconography and pictures without ideating the product or solutioning it. You got me? So you need to first talk about ideations. Then you went directly into typographies and yeah, Poppins font, even I like it. And then you're talking about some screens where wireframe is missing. See, some of the screens which are taken again, I don't know how do I arrive on this screen. This is dead picker. First of all, you said like you log in. I get it here. And then you come on this screen, maybe Discover tab is active. Home screen from where the user can set a location look. Now after that, immediately there is a date and time requires the user. How did I came here? I'm not able to understand. Am I typing a query or I click somewhere? And this is a suggestion for everyone. I think I'm making a query about my time and this thing, but from where did I click it? I couldn't understand. Then you get a results, and then there is an arrow down. So you're talking about filters and product details.
Actually, what I wanted to demonstrate. Sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead.
So I was just saying that I just wanted to demonstrate the features of the product, and actually I had gone through a few portfolio reviews earlier. So I was always in a fix to understand how much to show and how little to show. So for example, there were some projects where I've shown a lot of detail, and there are some projects when I just wanted to sort of limit the research and emphasize more on the visual design of the product.
Okay. Okay. So as I said earlier, if you're there or not, I don't know. It depends upon where you're applying and what kind of job it is. If the job is talking more of a visual kind of a roles, then okay, this is fine. They're not much interested in research and all those things. But if you're applying to companies that look end-to-end processes, methodologies, maybe like Atlassian, Athena, maybe Microsoft, Intuit, they want to understand the entire mindset, how you're building it. There you need to talk about the process, all the steps. You don't need to go details in every step, but the one representation of the step should be there. Like maybe user personas, research was there. You need to talk about it. Just a minute. And all the screens, you don't need to show all the features and everything. There is no need, there is no expectation from you to create a full-fledged working app. What we are looking as a hiring manager is your thought process, whether you can create flows, have an idea and good sense about visual design. You can understand alignments, contrast, new trends. Okay, we don't need to see the entire product with every feature and every function. So that's not required. You get me? So
Right, sir.
you show a good flow, and we try to judge our users, the portfolio, by understanding the flow. If the flow is wrong, whether the flow's placement is incorrect, which has, so we want to see one good flow, maybe for searching or booking, and that's all. Maybe we don't want to see like all the details of maybe filters and all those things, locations, all that. So think over it, what makes sense for that company. Show at least one task flow properly, start to end, like querying and selecting, and then booking that time slot or the place from the restaurant, whatever it is. That you don't need to go to how do a favorite screen look like, how do you do all these detailed filters. These are pattern based things. You can do that, right? But a nice, clean, good visual design. Here you will showcase more yourself like a visual designer, not like a full-fledged UX designer. Okay, but I see your other projects where you have research, right, which has a lot of depth of research and data gathering. And as I was talking earlier, do put all the source and credits to them from wherever you pull up this data to validate that. Now here it has become too much of research. Maybe you can send this portfolio for a research role, user researcher role. There you can have it. But again, what happens is this kind of a beyond site, I don't get a bird's eye view initially on the first screen, like what all things are there. I have to keep scrolling down, down, down. So it will be good to see somewhere on the top the below content, just a snippets of it, or if you can create a within page anchor links or something like that. So in my first screen, I know like what is there, like 10 pages below a scroll. Now here I have to go each and everything, scroll it, and then make sense out of it. So always try to help the your audience, which is hiring manager or the recruiter. Recruiter is more difficult to convince because they are busy with multiple job openings. They have like maybe 5 minutes of time, and they want to look at just some places and make a judgment about you, whether they should call you or not. So you have to win that time. You have a lot of data here. This looks like a very full-fledged. It will be good, and I think again it is all because of these tools that you all are using, is Behance and everything. It does not have that capability to start with a summary of content, and then I can choose myself where I want to go into detail rather than scrolling down. But it's a good project. Yeah, I think that's all. I think I will not go much deeper, but all the three students have done a great work, great job. Look at the sequencing, what information you want to showcase, for which company, what makes sense, build the storyline, give a bird's eye view about what is there in your portfolio, and then go into details. Like because of these tools, it becomes so big fonts and big typography, you can't really grasp it properly. All right. Any questions?
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Please put your questions in the chat box.
So multiple groups projects, you can think about and mention your role in that, your portfolio, what you did in that. And I had seen this in some of the reviews that some candidates, students had pasted the project screenshots, which was actually done by other students, not them. Then we realized when two people from the same universities apply, it creates confusion. So avoid that. Ideal number of projects, I would say, like, talk about 3 to 4 max, I would say. Audience design narratives, where I was talking. 3 to 4 projects max, not all in detail, one project in detail. Now that one project in detail depends upon where you are applying and what that company is interested. And hence you have to figure it out, how do you customize your portfolios to different companies rather than have a very generic one.
Hi Samir, Aditya here, Aditya Oswal. So I had a question. So right now I am currently in my third year of engineering, computer science. So the question that I had was, if I want to apply for a UX job, what would you see? What would you like to see in my portfolio as a techie? So would you like to see some code that I implement for the UX that is on the front end? Or would it be the process just like you saw the process for the designers right now?
You're from engineering background, you say?
Yes, sir.
So it depends upon the job description, right? If the job description has mentioned the expectation of this role is blah, 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 you need to match to that. The expectation is role is to do research. Expectation of the role is to actually create wireframes and user task flows and visual design. Those all things needs to match in your portfolio then. So it's about what the role you're applying. There are different roles called as prototypers in Intuit we had. And if some people are interested, and there are people who are interested in doing prototyping and animation and more of an interactivity within the product, they are not spending time in research or creating user flows and all that. They just get the flows from the UX designers, and the prototypers enhance that using the interactivity, micro interactions, animations, and all those things. So there are this kind of roles too, where the job description will mention more of this engineering capabilities, understanding platform technologies, all the constraints and everything. Yeah.
So Manas is asking, as an engineer, should I focus on showcasing the technologies as well that I have used for developing a project?
Yeah, it is always good, always good. It can be especially important where you're applying for roles like, I worked in LG R&D in Korea, in Seoul, as a chief research engineer there, where technology is the primary thing. I have a couple of UX patterns working on haptics, picture recognition, motion tracking, and all those things. And using how these new technologies, you can improve the experience of a user. It matters. So if you have those things, and again, the job description requires or will help, will appreciate that, then showcase it. If you're applying to some Indian startup which is doing some kind of a social lab for connecting the local students here, they may not be interested looking at technology then. You can just mention, but don't elaborate too much. But tech companies like Intel's, LG's, and maybe what is it? ARM Technologies, Samsung's also is a technology company. They do believe in technology-based design. And if you have understanding of technology, pictures, motions, like gestural interactions, 3D, AR, augmented realities, virtual reality, it helps to them. Like Google Glasses, I worked on Google Glasses, so understanding the 3D vision, gestures, and all those things, it helps. All right.
Any other question?
I think they can message me later. You can send me some questions, whatever they have later.
Yes,
so
we can wrap it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Chavan, what we could do is we could summarize some of these questions in case anything is unanswered. I'm sure our students can reach out to you.
Yeah, right. Thanks everyone. I hope you got some different perspective from me. Portfolios are there, everyone, but always it's a challenge. How do you stand out among the others? Right.
Yeah, Rutul, over to you.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. So it was a very informative and thought-provoking session. I would like to thank Samir sir for sharing his thoughts with us. We have indeed received a great feedback on portfolios and we hope to make them better. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Bye.
Chavan. Thank you
Bye-bye.
for this session. Bye-bye.